Okay, you guys, so I have just my foundation on. I obviously have a little bit of eye makeup on just so I don't freak anybody out, or myself. And we're talking today about concealer, how to make your concealer stop creasing. Now, this is something that a lot of people have touched on, and I'm just going to tell you from my point of view what works for me and what works for my clients. I am going to start with an oil. So this is the Daily Repair Treatment Oil by Jouer. The reason why I like this is because it's lightweight, it blends in really nicely, and it really gives me kind of not an oily feel. You know what I mean? You know, this is an oil, but it's a drier oil. So I'm going to just press it into this eye area, and I have left this whole eye area free of foundation. And the reason is because if your concealer already creases, you want to make sure that you're putting less layers on top of each other. So you want to try to use less product as possible. Now, I love a good highlight under the eye. I always have. So me using less product under the eye, because I'm going to use quite a few, is super important. So that is literally, I put the oil just right here on the bone, and I'm going to let it sit for about, I don't know, 5 minutes. And that is usually my time where I go in and I do my foundation routine and all of that stuff. So the reason why we're using oil is because A, it's lighter weight than an eye cream. I already have used an eye cream this morning when I did my normal everyday routine. This has been several hours since I have done that, so I just am using an oil because it's lighter weight, it penetrates the skin a lot quicker, and you also could use just a little bit of coconut oil or olive oil. Now that is going to be a little bit thicker, but it does take less time for it to really sink in and do what it's supposed to do. Also, oils plump up the skin, so it's making it a little bit more of an even surface. So start with a little oil, and then this is a face oil. It's not just an eye oil, it's a face oil, and you keep it just on the bone of your eye right here, because the skin right here is so thin that the product will work its way up to where it needs to be. Next, you need some sort of setting spray. Now, toner will not work for this, but a setting spray. So Urban Decay setting spray, or your favorite setting spray, whatever it is. Max Fix Plus actually, it's more of a toner, but try it with it. You need something that really has a setting component in it, all right? Then, concealers. Now, I love my concealers. You know that I love my MAC Pro Longwear concealers. I love my NARS concealers. I love, obviously, the Clé de Peau. I love Boing by Benefit. There's so many concealers I like, but if you can see a trend, these concealers are actually a little bit drier. So if you have an under eye issue of creasing, use a concealer that is a little bit drier. Reason being is because we've already put an oil on. And the creamier a product is, the more easily it's going to crease. But if you are super young and you have no problems with creasing, then run away with however many concealers or types of concealers that you want to use. Enjoy it. But this is for somebody that really, has a little bit of a problem with creasing. So I am going to probably do, let's see here. I think I should probably do one eye with the Pro Wear Long Concealer, and maybe another eye with the NARS Creamy Concealer, because you guys really like it. Now, this is not as dry as something like the Boing or MAC Pro Long Wear Concealer, but it'll still work. All right, so what we're going to do is, so that is now set in. It's done what it needs to do. It's plumping the skin underneath. I am going to apply an eyeshadow primer. Any eyeshadow primer you want to use, but make sure it's an eyeshadow primer. This is by Urban Decay. This is just the regular old eyeshadow primer. And I'm going to pull it underneath my eye, right at the lash line, because that's really where it starts to crease. Because we are going to pull that down. But we're just going to do that, and we're going to pat that in very gently. And we want to kind of keep this underneath the eye. And I do give that just a few moments to kind of set in and set, just like you would if you were using it for your eyeshadow. You just want to give it a couple minutes, not even, a couple seconds. All right, so now I am going to apply my concealer with a fluffy brush. You can use this, Or you can even use your flat foundation brush or concealer brush. Either or is totally fine with me. Maybe I'll just use a flat foundation brush so I can show you how to use it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pump a little bit of concealer on my hand. This is the MAC Pro Longwear Concealer in NC25. And I'm going to spray my brush just lightly with the setting spray. I am going to go into my concealer and I'm going to apply on one eye first. And you can go ahead and apply this just as you normally would your concealer. And I am gonna, like I said, I like a good I like a good under eye brightening. So I am just going to push this under the eye. And remember, our concealer brush has that setting spray on it. So you are going to have a little less time to play with this concealer, but you still are going to have a little bit of play time with it. All right. And I am going to take just a little bit on my Beauty Blender and just try to work this in. You can actually put the setting spray on your Beauty Blender if you want. That is totally a good idea, but we don't need to because I really pushed the product in first with the brush that had it on it. Also, this concealer is already a long-wearing concealer, so that is in our favor. It is on. It is basically, by now, this would have creased, and it is not creasing. Okay, hooray for that, yay. Now, what I would do is I would take a little bit of a brightening pen because I still like just a little bit more brightness. This is the MAC Prep and Prime. This is in Light Boost, or you can use the Charlotte Tilbury, the retoucher. I use number 1. And I'm just going to put this where I need it. So just right here and the corner of my eye, and I'm going to use that same brush with the setting spray on it to kind of tap this in. And you will feel this. It feels a little, your concealer will feel a little bit different than it normally does because of that setting spray. It just feels a little bit tackier, and that is what you want when concealer creasing is your problem. Now, your concealer will crease no matter what you do if you use too much. So make sure that you are using a very light hand when you're applying this and using it in layers. All right, so now I'm going to take my La Mer powder, which we will do, I'm going to do a review on this because I'm not quite sure what I feel about it. It's called the powder, but right now I'm just kind of using it to see what I think about it. And I've been trying to bake with it and all sorts of stuff to see if it really is worth the money. So I'm just going to tap a little bit of powder underneath the eye to set it. And I kind of make this face like this, because what this does is it stretches the skin underneath the eye and kind of allows you to really set that product. All right, great. So to start with the other eye, I am going to spray my brush again. And this time I'm actually going to use, you know what, let's use something a little bit less expensive. Let's go with Boing. This is number 1 by Benefit. And this is also a dry product, or a more dry product. More dry? Less creamy, I guess is the better word for that. And I'm just going to pop this in just like we did on the other side. Just the same. And I'm going to pop this in here with my Beauty Blender. All right, so this is for a little bit more of my girls that want an even more highlighted effect, which I absolutely love as well. But we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to go right in with our powder and set that. I do not need any eye brightening on this one, which is awesome because it's one less layer, right? All right, so that's as simple as it is. That is the technique for making sure that your concealer doesn't crease. All right, so make sure you guys subscribe. Please give me a thumbs up, and I really appreciate you guys stopping by today. Remember, you are loved. Mwah! See you guys soon. Bye-bye.